Mayor Randall Williams has defended his actions, saying everything was above board. But these developments show a clear rift in the City of Tshwane's coalition. Let's discuss this now with local government expert Dr. Harlan Cloete. Thank you very much, Doc, for your time here on eNCA. Firstly, what do you think is happening here? Because when I spoke to Mayor Randall Williams yesterday, he seemed to, be saying that the ActionSA is conflicting issues and that what he was actually proposing had nothing to do with this tender and that there is no 26 billion rand that he put forward.
Look, it's, it is typical of coalition governments. They are tricky, they are fragile, and there's also the possibility of politicking, and so as public policy analysts, we look at what is the evidence. Now, if ActionSA has now produced evidence, then somebody is lying in this, or somebody is grandstanding, or politicking, or trying to force the other party publicly to admit to something that we're not sure what the facts are.
And when you look at the, where ActionSA comes from, you could say because of its leader and some of the leadership like your John Moody, etc., that it's sort of like a breakaway of the DA, right? So could this be something that we're seeing, this public spat continuing?
At one stage, somebody referred to the DA as ANC light. I think what is true is that there are a lot of former DA members that are now members of ActionSA. And so they understand the culture of the DA and how the DA operates. So ActionSA is, I think, still in the process of finding that space. It says that once it got into power on a ticket, we do not want to look. And hence, what this is expected.
Right,
I think a lot of them. Are you with me?
Apologies for that, Doc. We had just lost your signal for a little bit, but you came back, thankfully, so you can continue.
Well, I'm not quite sure where I stopped, but I'm saying if you look at the ActionSA, it is a fact that a lot of former DA members have found a home in ActionSA, and they understand the culture of the DA and how the DA operates, and I think that's where most of their new members are probably going to come from, poaching them from the DA.
And of course, this is something we could have expected from the ANC as an opposition party, but for its coalition partners to also vote against it, the DA has it quite cut out for them, don't they, in the City of Tshwane? But also it's about the fact that the City of Tshwane has not been stable for some years now.
It is an unfortunate pattern, and that's what I'm saying. That's what makes coalitions so tricky, and they are so fragile, because in a big extent or large extent, it is issue-based politics, and so ActionSA has not given the new government a clean or a blank check, but rather set on an issue basis. And that's why, if you've seen the clip of the ActionSA leader there, they were very clear that this is what they want, and they're not going to compromise on that. And I think the DA must now respond to that.
Yeah, I think they should respond to that. But what do you make of ActionSA saying in this particular clip, the recording of a council meeting, Randall Williams is basically heard being very arrogant, according to them, and saying the deal is going to go ahead with or without his coalition partners?
Some people call it arrogance, some would call it leadership. I think he's in between a rock and a hard place, so I think political leadership also requires one to be firm, and also to make wise compromises. And so I think this is normal in the process of coalition. It's give and take, and we will now see who's calling one another's bluff here. But the mayor is adamant that he's going for ahead. ActionSA interpret that as arrogance. We'll see.
So there's something that Randall Williams said to me yesterday, and I wonder what you think, especially after seeing that the press conference was first of all addressed by its national chairperson and then its provincial chairperson before it went regional. He said that he cannot be expected to answer to ActionSA's national government or even provincial government. He should be allowed to speak to only the ones who are on a regional level with him. What do you make of that?
I think a lot of these deals, they've got, if we make a deal in Pretoria and that deal also maybe goes to Tshwane, not to Tshwane, to Nelson Mandela Bay municipality. And again, it's the nature of these coalitions. It's that, like I said, I keep saying them, they are fragile and they're subject to sometimes political input from other spaces. That doesn't hold good for local governance, because that then says that decisions are made not by residents or best interests of the residents, but at the whims and expectations of political bosses. And so if we want good, clean local governance, one would say that the needs or the demands of local citizens should be first, instead of regional or national politics or the influence of political parties. You would remember years back when Cape Town had the problem with the water crisis. At one stage, the DA leader, Musi Maimane, almost jumped in and became the spokesperson for the city of Cape Town on this matter. So it was a political process instead of a municipal process that was. And there's always a danger that politics will get in the way of what local citizens need.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that point, that very important point that you just made there, Doc, what's the way forward then in terms of these coalition partners? Because, all the other coalition partners like your ACDP and FF Plus are quiet, and it looks like a fight between just two of the entire make of the coalition. So what's the way forward?
I think if you get into bed with so many partners, there's always, you have to, it's like a man being married to 5 or 6 women, or a woman being married to 5 men. It's a difficult balancing act. Let us start there. Coalitions, because you've got different interests and different interpretations and different strategies. We do not have yet a culture of coalition governance. If you look at Europe, for example, where there's a culture of coalition governance, and sometimes these governments, like in the Netherlands, took them almost 8 months to form a new coalition government. So we do not have a culture yet of understanding coalition governance and how it works. And hopefully through these lessons that we are learning, we will learn as we go ahead. One way to counter this coalition governance is there's 2 options. It's the executive mayoral system or the collective executive system. And that's what we've been saying in November last year already. The collective executive system allows less power in this all-powerful mayoral committee and allows for better governance when it comes to coalitions. So for me, the answer is to perhaps change the system, the governance system, to a collective executive away from the mayoral system that is currently in operation in Tshwane.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Harlan Cloete. He is a local government expert.